The sun is still thin and soft. Rice husks shift on a woven mat, dry as a whisper. A hand taps a compacted briquette, and it answers with a dry, hollow note. We cook on what the field leaves behind. Hello, I'm Sam Nang Bradley. Today, a cooperative of women experimenting with low-smoke presses, a kiln worker who moved from old charcoal fires to safer craft, and the temple cook whose morning pots depend on these small, hot inventions. I promise a humane, practical story. No how-to steps, no unsafe shortcuts, just people, sound, and the reasons these fuels matter.
From a cultural standpoint, what we call fuel is also livelihood, ritual, and household care. So in the next half hour, let's listen to the hands that sort husks, the shoulders that carry baskets, and the cooks who time a temple dish to the beat of a brass bell. We'll also explain the trade-offs, health, environment, economy, clearly and respectfully. First, a brief context corner. Across rural Cambodia, rice husk, bamboo charcoal, and pressed biomass have long been part of household energy. They close cycles. Field residue becomes heat. But smoke matters. Chronic exposure affects lungs, especially for children and elders. On air, we won't give technical production instructions. Detailed methods stay with trained practitioners and accredited resources linked in the show notes.
Okay, let's step into the yard. Imagine a low sun and the smell of warm straw. Women spread husks across a wide mat. The sound is gentle and almost musical rustle. I met a cooperative in Kampong Chnang who call themselves the Smoke Stewards. They sort, sieve, and press in the shade of a tamarind tree.
One of the members, Mrs. Chan, spoke through Sovan's translation. We used to burn the husks in small piles. Now we press them. Less smoke, more sale. Her voice was patient, practical. She balanced a toddler on her hip and told me about the seasonality of demand. More briquettes needed before the rainy festivals, less when rains hold out.
The press they use is a prototype from a development partner, designed to reduce combustion smoke. What matters here is the social design. Co-op members adapted procedures to fit childcare rhythms and local fuel markets. The layers matter. Technology, gendered labor, and household needs all intersect.
There was a tiny, almost ritualized choreography to their work. A woman sifts husks with a rhythmic back and forth. Another pats the mixture into a mold. Then the tamp, soft pressure, a steady beat. Then she sets the finished block to dry. The coop had started experiments with additives to reduce smoke. They shared measurements only in broad terms, more like, we try this, we see less smoke, and asked we not record the technical recipe. I agreed.
Importantly, the cooperative receives small guaranteed purchases from a local temple and from a neighborhood market. Those steady orders mean mothers can bring children to work and still know there is income at the end of the week. That economic stability is as important as any technical fix.
Mrs. Chan laughed, a soft, quick sound when I asked whether the briquettes changed the taste of rice. We cannot taste husk, she said, smiling, but the cook at the Watt says it warms the pot the same. Her pride was in the finished stack, neat, dark bricks like small, patient books of energy.
We also spoke to a local public health volunteer who works with villages on smoke reduction. She told us that low-smoke presses reduce particulate matter. Conversation, not a magic fix.
Next, we leave the yard and find a man named Rith, once a kiln worker on a traditional charcoal site. He had hands that looked like well-used tools. He told me about long nights tending open fires and the decision to retrain. The fire took my brother's cough, he said quietly. He taught himself new press assembly on evenings after rice fields, and now he oversees a small enterprise making bamboo charcoal with modified kilns that cut smoke and recover heat for drying husks.
From the anthropological sense, Rith's shift represents craft continuity through transformation. He kept his skill with combustion, but redirected it towards safer, marketable products. That shift didn't erase risk. It redistributed it towards better practices, community training, and, in some cases, new roles like quality control and sales.
Rith described the smell of bamboo in the kiln, sweet, a cedar-like dry heat, and how a properly carbonized piece snaps like dry sugar. He laughed. People like the feeling of a good break. And then grew serious when he talked about training younger workers, about insisting on masks and breaks, about bargaining with middlemen who demand low prices. He's proud, but weary. You can hear both in his voice.
There are real trade-offs. Some methods yield denser, longer-burning charcoal that reduces the amount used, an environmental plus, but the kilns that produce them can be polluting if not managed. That's why local innovations that improve airflow, recover heat, and limit open flaming are so important. Again, no technical how-to on air, only the principles of safer practice and community oversight.
Let's breathe for a moment. Close your eyes if you like. Hear the yard again. Husks, the tamp, distant market chatter, a temple bell a few streets away. These layered sounds are the architecture of morning here, the work and the prayer, the pot on the fire. I want you to sit with that place a beat longer.
Now we move to a Wat kitchen, where a cook named Dara prepares ceremonial rice for a community feast. She depends on consistent heat. For the Wat, timing is everything. The curry must be on the table when the procession arrives. Dara told us she trusts briquettes from the co-op because they burn evenly. If flame is steady, we can focus on taste, she said, and then described tasting a bowl and knowing it was ready by the sound the pot makes against the spoon.
Dara also set clear boundaries for visitors. Ask us, respect our space. We will show if we can, but we will not let people photograph children in the yard. That consent-first attitude is important. For listeners who travel, never assume access. Ask, offer compensation for time or goods, and consider purchases through cooperative channels rather than direct bargaining at a workshop's doorstep.
Taste differences, she said, are subtle. The temple's rice, once cooked over open wood, had a faint smoke note. Briquettes give heat without changing the offering's meaning. For Dara, fuel is practical devotion. A warm bowl for a family, a plate set for ancestors, a steady pot when the weather turns. It's devotion that depends on reliable, fair income for the makers.
Practical takeaway time, short and vetted. If you visit a cooperative or workshop, 1. Ask before recording or photographing. 2. Never publish exact production locations or daily schedules. Route visits through local partners. 3. If you want to help, buy products through cooperative storefronts or donate to vetted organizations listed in our show notes. 4. When encountering smoke, keep distance from open fires. Look for shaded, ventilated spaces, and follow local guidance. We include public health resources in the notes rather than on-air medical advice.
A few simple listener prompts you can use at a workshop. May I ask about your products? Who should I speak to about buying fairly? Do you prefer I photograph this space? These small questions protect dignity and livelihoods. They turn curiosity into respect.
One last note on sustainability. Circular economies here are not a tech miracle. They are daily practices, reclaiming husks, creating marketable fuel, and balancing health and income. Support that work in ways that center local decision-making, pay fair prices, and avoid romanticizing hard labor. If you want to learn more, the show notes list NGOs and cooperative contacts who have consented to be shared.
Thank you to the women of the cooperative, to Rith, to Dara the cook, and to the public health volunteers who spoke with us. They asked for fair recognition and steady markets more than applause. If you liked this episode, please subscribe to Ancient Echoes KH so we can keep sharing these field stories and support the people who make everyday life possible.
You can find full show notes, links to the cooperatives we worked with, and public health citations on our website. If you share this episode, do so with care. Name the makers, credit their choices, and avoid sharing location details that could disrupt livelihoods. That kind of thoughtful sharing helps keep these small economies whole.
Until next time, walk the temples with me, meet the makers, and remember, small fires feed big communities. Quiet stones, loud stories.